This is 1400, which means 2 in one of my favorite stands here, and go try and kill a... I've also got the Red Samurai here with me on party chat. This. You there, Samurai?
I am, and so far everything's going good.
Good, good.
Do pardon.
What we're looking at to do today is right over here. If you look, I've got a tent set up here. If you ever need a level 3 or 4 fallow deer, you see I got a ground blind right here. You just put your tent right here and just walk right up through these fields, and they come out. You can see right here, you know, 5:30 to 9:30 every morning, and then here in the evening, you know, right here, same place. So either way you go, whichever way the wind's blowing, you have options to go and get you a fallow deer, and that's where I got my gold fallow deer, was right there. And now we're going over here to this stand, which is a little out of the way, but it looks over just some beautiful
Creatures. How do you get gold animals and such? Do you have? How do you hunt them? Do you just see the level and you go by leveling, or do you go by something else?
Yeah, I mean, every animal has a level that it maxes out on. Like a red deer goes all the way up to 9, which is your mythical or your legendary. The biggest moose I've seen is a level 4, bison level 4. Wild boar, usually you run into level 4s, but like sausage, the one that was the mission that I got the diamond on, was actually a level 5. It was the only level 5 I've seen, you know. And right here we have a roe deer. And it's down. But how you get your score is when you shoot an animal. I'll show you right here on this one. You have what's called the integrity bonus, quick kill bonus, and there's one more right here. You see on the left side of the screen, trophy rating 0. It was a female. Quick kill bonus 100, integrity bonus 0, and consecutive harvest is also 0 because this is the wrong caliber weapon for this animal, and so you don't get your bonuses. But how you get your diamonds and such as that is when all 3 of them are maxed out on a really big animal, the better trophy you're going to get, basically. Like a moose, I think is like a 220 score. It has to be above 220 and have all of them maxed out at 100 to get a diamond. Like the gun I'm carrying right now actually is for red deer, and it will actually, even on a fallow deer, even though it says, and I'll show you what I'm talking about, how you can tell what weapons to use, though it's not entirely true. If you look on the screen, wildlife, we'll go to fallow deer. It says on the right side, it says recommended equipment. It says weapon class 2, right? Well, right here, when you go to your inventory and you check your ammo, polymer bullets, if you look down at the bottom right, it says weapon class 2. But if you shoot a fallow deer with a 270 polymer bullet, it will not give you an integrity bonus. It's weird. You got to use a 243 or the 3030 to be able to get the bonus with it.
I got you.
So, I mean, you know, it's one of those things where it takes finding big animals and also just making a good shot. I have some.
So it's consistencies of always getting to where you can kill an animal multiple times, and then once you got that up, that kind of raises your score every time.
Exactly. Like, for example, the kill bonus. You know, if you harvest every animal you shoot, your consecutive harvest is going to be up. But like, for example, the quick kill bonus, if you shoot an animal and it runs 500 yards, you're not going to get a bonus on it because it didn't kill it quickly. That's where shooting them in the heart and lungs or in the spine, as you see here, we have a roe deer entering the field here to our left. And it is nervous because I did not put my cover scent on fast enough, apparently. Where?
Now, how does the leveling and such? Have you been playing this for very long? What's your current level at?
Current level is 42, as you can see at the top right up there. It's a 42. I have played it a lot, but that being said, you know, I haven't really specialized. I've done a lot of the missions and played that, but I've killed a lot of big animals, and I'm usually pretty selective. I shot that female roe deer. Usually I don't shoot those, but I've shot two just to kind of make sure that in the broadcast everything works good today. You know, that's why you're here with me, Samurai, is to help me make sure everything picks up in case we do a multiplayer hunt.
Right.
But I mean, this type of game, it's one of those. I mean, I told you before you bought it, if you'll remember, if you don't like hunting, this is not the game for you, because there's times, you know, when this game will just frustrate you to death.
Oh yeah, you can go hunting for several hours and not see a thing, for
Right.
sure.
And that's hours in real time, you know, but it's still,
Yeah.
it's much easier than the Hunter Classic, which is, I know you, being one of my buddies, have heard me go on and on about it, but the Hunter Classic's the world's most realistic hunting simulator. That's where this game got its start, is because of what the Classic did. And to me, it's the more beautiful hunting game. Now, this one is more fun because the environment and the beauty of the game and everything, but us being on console here, we're so far behind PC at the moment, though an update will be out soon. We're so far behind on content at the moment that it's not fun for people yet. But, you know, one thing I love about the Classic is you can get your own camo. Like me, JR is another one of my buddies that plays this game, and he and I used to play the Classic together, and we could go, you know, bighorn sheep hunting in the mountains on one map, and you got to go buy your alpine camo, and it camouflaged you when you was in the mountains. And like, if you were in the summer map, you could buy a summer ghillie suit. Right here's a decent fallow deer track I think we're gonna follow. You know, you could buy a summer ghillie suit or a fall ghillie suit depending on what map you was on, and the animals are so different. In this game, on console, even on the computer update versions, just has not yet reached that level. Oh, they're fresh.
So, in like the hunter class, the no, Hunter Call of the Wild is not as in depth as the Hunter the Classic.
No, not at all. Like
And such, like when we are, it's not the camo doesn't play that much of a factor yet.
well, no, and the camo tells you here on this game. Like if I go to it here in my inventory, right, like camo, you can wear forest camo, but at the bottom it says your choice of camo does not affect how well animals can detect you. In the Classic, it's all about camo, but it's also a pay to play. You know, so I have a feeling eventually this game will not necessarily be a pay to play, but they will come out with more little stuff like camos and weapons, skins, and different stuff like that to enable you to experience this game more as a hunter. Now, one thing it's not like the Cabela's games turned into to where it's like an arcade shooter. This is one where, you know, I've been in some areas where I've had 50 to 60 animals, like herds of elk and moose, on the same area, same part of the screen. You know, Hunter Classic didn't do that. Plus, seeing the animals come through the woods and the animal behavior untouched as far as a hunting game. But sometimes if you're not in the right place, you won't see animals for hours, you know. It's kind of crazy. Like right here, you see I'm going from a open field going in after this deer here in this terrain. It's going to be interesting. See if we can get it done.
Right.
If
Now
I
you could probably belly crawl through there and get somewhere, but it's going to take you a lot longer to get where you're wanting to go.
Exactly, and see, like with this, see that track told me I should turn around, but that's where I just came from. Sometimes when you run into trees or something, you have to be careful not to just completely abandon it. But see, I can see right here one to the right. See, this is where he went. Rocks and trees bounce you sometimes, and sometimes animals just change directions, and this will work out better for us because he's going away from the wind. And you see the wind direction in the bottom right with the green cone on my mini map, and more than likely he just turned around and walked right by my stand. You see my waypoint over there is my stand.
Yep,
He,
I
he,
see it.
he probably just turned and walked right past it. Sometimes patience is a virtue.
Well, that's the number one thing with hunting in real life anyways, is being patient and waiting for the right time.
Right. Well, see, like right here, if you look at this track, when I look at it, I've hunted them enough to know 143 to 181 is a level 2 or 3 fallow deer. You want the 181 to 230 to be the level 4s. And those are your big ones. And a lot of that is one, experience with the animal, getting the skill to where you can tell how much the animal weighs, but also just general familiarity with the different species. Like me and you've hunted before, Samurai, and I've took you to several different places, say, okay, there'll be an animal here in a few minutes, and they're there because I've hunted this map in particular so much that I have certain groups of animals patterned. And like that's one big difference is the Hunter Classic. It enabled you to hunt, but the animals were random every time you logged in. Like there was no consistency in the animals. They were always in their hot spots, but you never could hunt the same animal twice, which is fun. Don't get me wrong, it's a lot of fun. But like this one, when I first got it, I sent you a picture. I took a screenshot of an albino elk with a bunch of moose, and then like the next week I got back on there and played with it at the same spot, and I killed, it was a piebald elk, and then I didn't notice it until earlier that I had it in an earlier photo,
Right.
and so it tells me that if you see a certain animal in a certain area, that they frequent that area. And so that's how I've killed my level 9s. My level 9, red deer, is I would go and sometimes scare them off or find their track in a certain area and track it to that area and find a need zone and then just wait it out or come back at the right time. And that's how you kill them, is you can pattern them. Like this guy here, he's walking up here, it's fresh. If you come back here, at this time tomorrow, now it's probably 15:15. If you get here about 3, about 1300, which would be 1 o'clock, and set, you would see this deer more than likely walking through right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's crazy how it works sometimes. I'm gonna start. I think we're. Wait. That may be him. No, it just leaves. And they're really hard to see in this bright leaf color, because when we actually see one, you'll see they're kind of a bright, light brown. And we're easing through here because one thing I did learn the other day I didn't know, like I'm level 42, and so when you level up, the animals all of a sudden adapt to you, and it's harder to hunt big animals. Like it would be easier to hunt this level 2 or 3 fallow deer when you start the game, because it enables you to get away with more. Like
Right.
me for example, it isn't going to let me get away with a whole lot because of let's see, that's interesting. There's a bedding area over there. But if you notice where this guy's heading, right? You look at the direction we're
Yeah.
heading, he's heading up here to this feed zone. Even though it's in the morning, somewhere in here or right here, he's got a bedding area. Because animals right here is a bedding area. So they bed in the trees. And how I know that, you go right here to your codex, to your wildlife, fallow deer, right? They prefer a
Right.
mix of deciduous forest and open areas, right? But if they're pale brown, and it goes, fallow deer is a herbivore, preferring a mix of woodlands and open fields for grazing. So when they go to eat, they usually eat in the open fields in the morning and in the evening when they're active. They go to water once a day, and the rest of the day you find them in here. So with him traveling through this area, and I mean knowing he's fed in the morning, he's more than likely going to split either left or right and go to eat in a field, or he's going to go to that lake to drink or go to a bedding area. So I mean, we will figure it out here very shortly when we catch. Once again, I know you've played this. I mean, you've hunted a lot of black bear. Is one thing about the classic that was different from the Call of the Wild is when you get on this one and you level up a skill, like say you're tracking, you are able to identify every animal. With the classic, what made it so much harder and so much of a grind is you had to level up on each individual species. Like if you wanted to learn the weight or the score of white-tailed deer, you had to spot and track white-tailed deer and hunt the individual animal. It therefore enabled you to do that because you had to hunt each animal and learn each animal. Now, with this game, it's a bit more streamlined into the fact of, which it was meant to be. They said when they made it that it was a different game. It's not a remake of the classic. It's different. It's its own game, which is great. You know, you got to take it for what it is and go with it. But, that being said, I would love to see more of a learning curve. But, you know, if you make it as hard as the Hunter Classic is, no one would ever buy it. No one would ever play it but hardcore hunters.
Right. And if you want to attract a more bigger, broader crowd, you got to be able to change it up.
Exactly. I mean, you know, this game enables you to learn to hunt. You see right here, he's ran, which means he heard us. Great. And I thought I was being quiet. He must have just been right here. So I got to talking and forgot that I was hunting a fallow deer. But anyway, the point being, like we said before, if this game was as hard as the Hunter Classic, no, you wouldn't have an audience. That's interesting.
What is that?
He ran, then he trotted back to here. So he didn't run far at all. Now he's back trotting. He must not have been scared too bad. So this is the hard part when you get here in these forests like this, is because you can't see very far. And the animals see a lot better than we do on the game. And also you see the wind and the rain. It's not really conducive to hunting, hearing, or seeing. Here we go. It should say just now. Fresh. Alright. He's a little bit ahead of us. What we need to do is catch this big boy out in a field. And the thing is like, for a fallow deer, This is one of the, probably if you graded them in tiers, he would be about a 7 to 8 if he's a level 3 on the difficulty range of fallow deer, which are not as difficult as, say, red deer, for example. Here we go. Fallow deer warning call. Right there is his poop, which means he's over there somewhere. There he is. Yeah, that's a level 2.
Not the one you want, but one that'll be alright.
Oh yeah, it'll be alright. You can see right there, I put the old 270 in the heart and lungs, and he run off. And this is a part I do love. Too often in a classic, you know, if you make such a great shot, the animal don't run off. If I used a bigger caliber weapon, the animal wouldn't run off, you know. And so to me, what makes the game so much fun is getting to track them down. See, the bleed rate's high. This is a caliber that's going to drop this deer. This rack is not that impressive. You know what I mean? As far as even for fallow deer, but you can see it's very little. It's not very high. He's going to be a level 2. Well, he's a level 3. Very easy. He's just the bottom scale of level 3. That is a really, really, really small level 3. But you see, that's another great thing about the Call of Wild. So you see all his bones, and you see right there, you can look at him from all sides, and I hit him in the left lung, which is not what that's showing. That's showing I hit him in the right lung. It's backwards. But anyway, we crept through the woods, but if you look over to the left, it says integrity bonus 0. So if you use the 270 on fallow deer, you will not be able to get a high level. Like see right there, consecutive harvest was 40, quick kill bonus 97. So even though those two were all right, definitely not a good harvest. And a lot of that just comes with learning how the game works. And see, what I like about it is it's raining cats and dogs. But see, right here in this little hunting blind. And you know, well, days like this when it's pouring rain, if you're hunting in real life, you're not spotting and stalking out here. You're not in a thunderstorm spotting and stalking. And where I live, you know, I'm a huge bow hunter. It's my passion. Live in Alabama, hunt Alabama whitetails. Now, compared to out west or up north, you know, even Saskatchewan and Canada, we don't have the size deer like Illinois, the place that we go in Illinois. But, you know, we still grow very big deer for the South. But on a day like this, you go get in a stand and you sit and wait. And this works better. I heard someone say this the other day. This works better when you're lower level. But the thing is, if there's a need zone out in front of it, like there is one right here, I think it's roe deer, but I will check. Right? Or fallow deer. I'm sorry, it's fallow deer. If there is a need zone here, deer will come here. Right?
Right.
And so what you see here is the fallow deer on this is open. But if you look at how it's wrapped in vegetation, it's just like whitetail hunting or real life fallow hunting is. They love the forest. All deer want to be protected. All animals want to be protected. You know, it's like this. If I told you someone was going to try to hunt you down and kill you, right? You are going to think, where can I go to prevent me from being hunted down and killed? The same thing a deer does is right here. we're looking, and this is a good area. You can come out to eat and still have a lot of protection. Which I do think is interesting. If you look, you know, there's a rag here, and there's hooks, like where you can hook something up. There's even a bench where you can sit down on. And the only thing I hate about this, right, which this one, if you look in the bottom right, the middle square, it says a flat line, which means we're pretty concealed, is like this one is not doing it justice to what it normally looks like. But when you're in the hunting towers or a ground blind, like I've had several that have been popped up in trees, and I know this is a console and it's not up to date with PC yet, but there's a lot of bugs in this game to where we need to get some fixes. But I will show you something interesting. When I flip over to my rifle, if you look in the bottom right, you see the 164.04. This comes from your perk tree. Like, you can build how you want. Like, if you look at me, I'm maxed out on archery besides the one where you lay on the ground, right?
This is just not realistic.
And it's because I like to role play. I like realism. I can draw and shoot my bow on the ground, but you're not going to. And then my rifles I have pretty much maxed out besides a focused shot here because it increases zoom, which is just kind of dumb. But the zeroing unlocks a short range zero and a long range zero. So with my rifle here, I'm zeroed right now for 164.04 yards. If I hit R1, now I'm zeroed at 82 yards. So at 82 yards, my bullet's going to hit where the crosshairs are. Now I hit it again long distance at 328.08 yards. My crosshairs, the bullet will hit wherever my crosshairs are at that yardage. So you have your long range shooting, your default, and then your short range zero for if you're hunting in like that thick brush. You know, it makes it easier, which I can detach the sight and you can see the side on this, which it's great if you're in the brush. But to me, and it's the same way here. If you go to the bow, right now it's zeroed at 21.87 yards, 43.65. And you can look at that and check it by saying, like, we'll say right here, right, that patch of white stuff right there, 67, should blow. The wind should blow. You see it kick up the dirt right beside it. So you have to be careful, or I do. Usually if I say, hey, I'm going to go bow hunting, I'm going to not use that at all. I go in here and also, showing off the game a little bit. You go here to like your stalker, wind prediction or startle call, which is great for me, especially with a bow. And Colton, or my brother, gave me this ideal, but it's one of them where you can stop the deer you want. Because I was complaining the other day to where the deer never stop where you need them to stop. He said, well, don't they have something on there where you can make a noise? Because in Hunter Classic, he's played it some, you were able to hit T to whistle, right, and stop the animals. And I looked on my skill tree deeper in, and they have this, where if I hit R1, see, he whistles, it'll stop that animal instantly when you're ready for a shot. And it takes it 30 seconds to cool down. But, if you're just at full draw and that animal's got to stop in an opening, you hit that, and all of a sudden, that animal stops. Is that a pig? No. Thought I saw a pig. False alarm. But anyway, any more questions, Samurai?
Not a problem. Not at the moment.
Am I boring you to death yet?
Nah, not at all. Some of the stuff I haven't even noticed myself, but that T to the whistle, now I did notice that, but that, like you said, it takes a little while just to get anywhere close to that.
Right, and what I recommend, like right here, the wind is southwest, which means it's blowing down to the left. Come here, like reset yourself. You know animals, it's 4 o'clock in the evening. Most animals are in the field, right? Come down here to a place like this
Right.
outpost, take it and swing, and we'll make that loop down to the right. You know what I mean? Like we're here now. We'll come up here and just kind of sweep down through here. Right? May even go get this information. It's a hunting tip. May even go get this. And I recommend getting this stuff while you're close to it because it's just annoying to have to put up with. But they do, like for example, that pig I was talking about, sausage, the level 5 wild boar. There was a thing on here from Dr. Otto. Hang on, I'll just show you. Right here, Central Europe, points of interest. Dr. Otto can tell. The dark wild boar was slain, but there is still one evil boar out there. They call him Worst Sausage. There's a mission where you have to go kill that pig. You know, and I thought it was interesting that that note was in the game, and then we had to go kill Sausage, or Worst as they call him here in Europe. But you know, it was pretty cool that they worked that into the game. Actually, I thought it was interesting.
It gives it makes it a game to where it's also intuitive or interactive, being properly the proper word, with those that are not that much of a hunter. They don't just go out and hunt things just to be hunting because they like hunting that much, but it gives them that video game aspect where everybody can kind of comprehend or get a little bit of idea of what to do as they go.
Well, that's like me. Is I have been absolutely grinding through missions, right? Like I have been on a mission rampage. And I told myself, you know, hey, you've kind of lost touch with the hunting part of it. Which, you know, at the time I said, look, I want to get through some of these missions. I want to level up and unlock all the collars. You know, and build this character where I want him to be. And so that way I can get ready for the Metavid Tanga, which is the snow map. You know, I said I want to be ready to go when that drops. And I've debated restarting and doing it again because I got, you know, sometimes it gets boring until I realize it's harder to hunt at this higher level, which enables me to kind of have that challenge back to it. You know, makes it more fun.
Well, if they didn't do it, there wouldn't be much replayability. I mean, there would be not that much replayability, but some of the things you want to kind of do as you hunt is as you kind of hunt animals do get smarter, or it gets just a tad bit harder to do stuff, because as you go throughout the game, there's...
Go get my caliber gun that's meant for bison and moose and bring it out here and shoot little roe deer with it and absolutely destroy them. You know what I mean? It's not that hard. Actually, I'll be really surprised if we don't see an animal in one of these fields. But
I do always remember that one time you told me about when we was hunting bison, or when I was hunting bison, you told me they was the toughest thing to kill. And I just had a luck of a shot with a bow and just happened to heart shot him the first time.
Like, I had shot these bisons with, I can't remember if it was the 243 or the 270, because I drove around one day on the four-wheeler and locked all the outposts on this map, because I said, well, I might as well, because there's no, like, level restriction. You can start from day one, hop on a four-wheeler, drive up there with bison and try killing bison with a 243. It's just not smart. But if you know, I telling Samurai here, I said, look, this is one of the toughest animals you'll see. Like, they're tougher than moose. I've shot one 5 or 6 times, reloaded and shot it again, and still barely killed it. And he gets there, and they're walking into us. We got in front of him. They just walk right up, and he shoots it, and it just drops to the ground because he shot it through the heart. And I'm just like, okay. And he'll tell you, even after that, the next one took 5 or 6 shots to drop. But that first one, he dropped it like it was hot.
You just couldn't have placed the shot no better than that.
Exactly. If you shoot them in the heart, you can kill them with anything. That's the message for the day. But it goes
That's where
back.
you get your quick kill.
Yeah, but it goes back to like I said about shot placement. You know, if you're using the recommended caliber weapon on these animals, then it is requires a good shot. Like right now, the arrows I'm using are the heaviest arrows in the game. On these fallow deers, it'll be a 0 integrity because they're such large arrows. They're actually too big, which is just dumb. But that's one thing that does frustrate me with your bow sight is most sights. Like if you look here, right, the first two pins are useless. But the gold pin is about 20 yards. The one down is about 30, and the bottom's 40. I'll show it to you again with these arrows, which is pretty accurate. But the top two pins are dumb. It should be, you know, 20 yards. I mean, 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards should be the gold ones. 40, 50, or make it 20, 30, 40 be the gold one. 50, 60 zeroed on no matter what size arrow you have, because I don't know anybody that takes an arrow or bow and arrow and doesn't sight it in to whatever size arrow they're using. It's just dumb to me. But
No, even me being a bow hunter as myself and such, if you use different type of grain, you gotta do the whole thing all over again about sighting it all in.
the field ridge next to this cairn gives you great line of sight in all directions. So it must mean this one. If you get on this ridge, see, there's a great hunting tip. You get right here on this ridge, talking about interacting with a game, get right here on this ridge, and it gives you a great view in all directions. And as you notice, like animals should be out in this field. It's pouring down rain. Animals don't come out into open fields when it's pouring down rain. They stay in the tree line. The hard part is figuring out what in the world this is going to do. Which, once again, go down here to your skills. Right? Weather prediction. Activate. Right? It's going to be sunny at 17:12. So in, 10, 20...
Now wait a minute, you have to go to your skills to do that, to activate that particular thing?
Yeah, it's right here, like the weather prediction, right? It's in Stalker, right here. Weather change to what state. So while right now there's no animals in this field, I know by using my skill to predict the weather that the rain will let up here in a minute, and it sounds like it already has. You see,
Gotcha.
it said
I thought that skill was something you had to use just like you would with the quick call for stopping the animal so you can take a shot.
It is. I just switched to it, hit R1, and then it does it for you. You just have to switch it. You have to switch it in your menu. You can only have one activated at a time. See, now you can see there's even a light fog from where the rain was. Put some wild boar scent out and put a little cover scent on. Right? And now we're set. One thing I've noticed, you see right there, that little cover scent bug. Cover scent does not want to let you switch off of it. So you have to watch it.
Doesn't want you to switch off of it.
Like, hangs up on cover scent for some reason. It's weird, I know, but cover scent has a little bit of a bug. Here's what I was going to check. You see, I have not hunted this area a whole lot. But I have view into this field, this field, this field, and this field. And I don't hunt down here a whole lot recently because I've spent most of my time, up here hunting bison or Yeah, I love hunting this area. You can see I have this area hunted out. You know, I used to have a tent right here. I just took it up. I have a tent there and a tent here for red deer. I have a ground blind for red deer right here. Over here at Mullerwald, you see how I've hunted around there. But right here is a level 7, 8, or 9 red deer right here that I tracked through the logging area, right? And I can't get it to come back to there. But anyway, I know because I found its track that day that it is right here. So I tracked it until I found a need zone. So now I know I can go set up. This is a ridge right here. You see your topographical lines, right? That means it's a ridge, and here the smaller one means this is the point of the ridge. So I get right here on the point of the ridge, looking out this way with the southwest wind like we have right now, and I'm able to see that deer when he comes in to eat. I mean, if you study your map, you know, you can hunt like you do in real life.
Right.
It's kind of crazy, but I'm looking for an animal. Like you can see, like what I'm talking about. Like we went a while now without seeing anything, and that's odd because this is a place at this time where you're supposed to be seeing animals.
Well, it just goes to show you that not everything's going to be exactly the way it should be.
Exactly. Too, it was raining. I think they just know there's a killer out here in their midst.
I kind of feel that way sometimes when I'm out hunting.
I will strap. But you know, I'm shooting more stuff for this video. I've shot a couple of roe deer, but I've started being more selective and hunting trophy animals because I don't really need the money. But that's one of the reasons I grinded through so many missions and did all that. One was just to do it because it was fun, but two was the money. You know, I owned now just about every rifle in the game but the 223. You know, so. You look here at fallow deer, they're mostly active during dawn and dusk. And wild boar are the other one, you know, during night. So right now we're about to get to where the wild boar is about to start coming out into these fields. And that's something really fun. And roe deer during dawn and dusk, but they're everywhere. These animals right here are in every part of the map. They are in everywhere. Like it's amazing how many of them suckers there are. It's actually quite crazy. There's a bird.
By far, what is your most favorite animal to hunt on the game, you think?
Well, that's tough. What I've killed the most of would probably be wild boar. My most favorite to hunt? Probably the elk and the moose. Because I love the elk calling and with a bow and being able to call them and hear them call, you know, and the moose too. I enjoy hunting a lot of them. Like red deer is probably the hardest to take a big mature red deer. Because elk, and it depends on what you're hunting with. If you're hunting with a rifle, you know, red deer is the hardest still. But it's easy to hunt elk and it's easy to hunt moose because they're both very vocal and they come into a call. What makes it more fun for me is I like to bow hunt, and so I love hearing the elk call and just hearing it going. But wild boar is probably the most fun to hunt because when they do come out here, you get your lever action and you let them come to the center of the field with a group. And if you got buddies, then you let them surround the field and you just shoot one of them. They start running and you start shooting at them. You can trap them in there and just kill 10 or 15 of them sometimes, you know. The most I've killed is I've killed 5 in one field with a lever action. And it was a lot of fun.
I think the most I've ever had fun on that when we was hunting was or when I've been hunting, is probably hunting the black bear. Because you have to slip into where they're at, and then once you get where they are, it's even more difficult to try to bring them down and stuff, because you got to go into their bedding areas, or at least in my opinion, you do.
Yeah, if you don't ambush them and catch them while they're traveling, then yeah, you do have to go into the bedding area, and you have to go and do that like that, which is a lot of fun. I got to see you get mauled one day, so.
You did. You also, I also did a call shot for you as well at point blank range.
Yep. Well, the thing about that.
That was also the time I hunted down my first cinnamon bear.
Yeah. The fun part about that is you crawl up on them and you can't see them. Like,
so as you're hearing them sitting there yawning and they're bedding and they're doing their thing, you just hear them at point blank range and you just cannot see them yet.
Yeah, like I shot that bear that mauled you at like 10 yards. I didn't see it till it stood up, and then it mauled you, so it was great. I enjoyed it anyway.
It's just had to get through all that and bandage up.
It sounds better when I say it mauled you.
Yeah.
I mean, it did. It hurt.
I can't remember this. The hunter called a while. Does it have medic packs or something you do to heal after that? Or is it just time?
It has first aid packs. I have never bought them because I think they're pointless. Because resting will cure it. But I've not ever had anything that would really kill you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, everything, like if they're going to kill you, it's going to have to literally go into full-fledged combat with you, which in this game, all the animals just fear you.
Right, I mean, if you got hit by like a herd of a certain type of animal, then yeah, it would probably kill you. But like one animal, except for a bison will turn around and come get you. They're mean suckers. But
yeah, they're the only ones I think I've seen that do go after you. Like even the bear run.
Right, the bear will run first if it's an option, but the bison they come after you. You know, me and Oakenwolf were just hunting a minute ago, and one came after him, and it charged all the way down the hill, and tried to kill him, and I thought it was hilarious, because I'm just sitting there watching my binoculars as it charges him, you know, like a good friend. But anyway, the point being is they will come get you, but I don't know, maybe on the new snow map, the grizzly bear might be feared. I mean, I think I've heard them say that it's more aggressive, though I have not seen it myself yet, you know.
Right.
I mean, I would say they would be. Right there's a hunting stand. But no, I don't know, I would say, which means they are just the most attuned, hardest thing to get into range and kill that there is. And to me, there's just something about killing a big one of them, which I've never killed a big one with a bow. I've only ever killed them with a gun. So my goal with the videos I'm about to start making, Squatchatory Wild, is going to be, or Squatch's Hunting Adventures, I'm not sure yet. I'll pick one. Is I'm going to try to take the top level of every big game species in the game with a bow. You know. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to take a little while and some hunts and putting stuff together, but you know, each of the big game animals. And if you want a list of what that is, right here you go. Right, European bison, fallow deer, red deer, roe deer, wild boar, black bear, black-tailed deer, moose, rose-red elk, and whitetail. And I don't know about the coyote and red fox. I may as well just add them in. But you know, that's 4, 5. That's 12 animals. So that's 12 animals killed with a bow. And I want to get the top level. So yeah, that's going to take a while, especially with the red deer, because it's difficult to find big red deer, plus to kill them.
Right.
You know, so well, this looks like a great area. But anyway, you know, this is kind of the game and kind of what it looks like and kind of the stuff about it. I know I probably bored you to death, but talking about some of the mechanics and things I've learned is, you know, like right here at 402, the render distance on the Hunter Classic was 225 meters. You know, if an animal walks out right there, I can see it and I can shoot it. And that's just a dramatic difference to me. Like at first, which, you know, now I've played this game for 4 or 5 months. See, it come out in October, so it'd be 3, 4 months. So, you know, we're looking at just now it's like expected. But I remember when I first started playing it, that was just amazing to me to be able to see the animals from that far away, and not only that, but to be able to shoot them. It's great. Plus, it's just a pretty game. I mean, you just look at that. That's pretty.
That was one thing that always did catch my eye, is when I was sitting out there in a hunting blind, doing nothing really. It was always beautiful just to see the sunrise just come up like it did.
Yeah. And if you watch, you're about to get to see the sun set here in about an in-game hour. But you notice the trees, the shadows will start creeping up the trees, and
Oh yeah.
we'll hopefully start seeing some animals.
I've always though didn't like the night hunting game part of hunting challenges.
No.
It's really, really difficult to see anything.
And I think a lot of that is just wanting to show it off. Me, being a hunter, don't really like seeing night hunting because it's not allowed here and it's not something I'm used to, but it is an interesting part of the game, and I think the challenges are just to show off that aspect, you know, which I get.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to show all aspects of it, the best part of it is trying to get it from the night view and everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, you're like hogs. I've killed several hogs out in the field at night because that's when they come out.
Yeah.
You know, coyotes are active during night. There was one mission I went and you have to kill 2 coyotes at night. Boy, I call them in and smoke them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So, you know, you have to play. This really, like I said, was just a test and just to kind of see, make sure you could hear me and everything and see what we need to work on. But we appreciate it. Samurai, appreciate you staying on with me. We'll see y'all next time.
See ya.